Welcome back, guys. Hope you're doing great. Well, in this video we're going to learn how to create a nice and awesome loading animation for like a page loader just by using HTML and CSS. This is the exact same UI that we're going to build in this video, so watch this without skipping. And if you want the source code, you can click the link in the description below so you can have the source code for free. All right, so and hit the subscribe button as well, as so that will encourage to come up with a more innovative and more concepts for you guys. All right, so let's jump into the video now. All right, guys, so first let's create a new project folder. In this case, I'm just going to create myself a root folder called loaders. So inside this loaders, I'm going to create myself a new file called readme.md, and in this I'm going to create myself a new folder called loader. Then I'm going to create myself the date and the month. Okay, something like this. So in this, I'm going to create myself a new folder called public, and inside this folder I'm going to create a new file called index.html, and inside this public folder I'm going to create myself the assets, and inside the assets folder I'm going to create myself a new folder called the CSS, JavaScript, all those stuffs, JS files and all those stuffs. Okay, so public index.html, and yeah, inside the public only we need to have that index.html file as well as. Okay, so then for this loader I'm going to create myself a new file called readme.md. okay, so this is how the folder structure will looks like. The main folder, and then the public folder we have the readme file, and inside the public folder we have the assets and the index.html. So let's bring the boilerplate code for this. So let's say hash this, sorry, exclamatory symbol. So let's bring this as the loader animation. Let's say 06 March 2026, something like this. Sorry. Okay, so save this and let's bring a new file inside this assets folder and CSS folder. Let's call this as the styles.css. Save this, and I'm going to bring that styles.css and link it straight away over here, which is going to be the CSS file. Relationship needs to be styles.css style sheet, and let's bring the assets CSS styles.css. Let's load the local file over here. Perfect. And now I'm gonna load this file in the local server. So let me bring this file in the open live server. So for that you have to install this live server plugin. Search for live server. Search for this live server. So you have to install this live server plugin in order to run your local HTML file in a development server. Now, which is everything is fine. And let me get back over here. So basically what we are trying to do is we have to remove some unwanted margin which is occupied for your body tags. You can see we have some unwanted margins over here. So wait a minute, so let me move my camera a bit. So you can see we have the unwanted margins on the right bottom side over here, right? So now what we need to do is we have to remove that unwanted margin. So let us target that every single element star, which is going to be margin 0, and I'm going to bring the padding, that is also 0, then box sizing, which is going to be the border box. Then I need to target the body tag body, which is going to be width needs to be 100% viewport width, which means it needs to cover the entire view width, whatever the screen it's being loaded. Then I need to access the height as well as viewport height. Then display, how I want to display flex by for a web page, display flex in the sense it will take a single row, but we need to keep it in the column direction. So flex direction needs to be column direction. Align items in the center, and as well as I need to align the content vertically and horizontally in the center of the page, something like this. So if you had, let's say h2 tag, let's say loader animation, save it. So you should be able to see that loader animation in the center of the screen, which is pretty much that's what we needed, right? So now what we are going to do is basically we are going to bring a pile of cube animations. So let's get that right after here. I'm going to create myself a container as a division. Then inside over here, I'm going to bring a loader, and inside this, I'm going to create myself a crystals, which is going to be the pile of cubes. So I'm going to create myself a three divisions of with the class name as crystals. So let's say dot we need to create div dot crystal multiplied by 3. Okay, so we need to 6, right? So 6, so 6 different crystals. This is what we needed. All right, so now what we need to do is let's get, we have the body, the main wireframe. So let's start writing these styles. So for the container, so I'm just going to make sure the container, which is going to take the display as flex, align item center, and justify the content as well as in the center. Then I need to target the loader, which is going to have the position as a relative position, because the main loader is going to be the anchor point for every crystals which is inside the loader. Then I need to fix the width as 200 pixels. So let's change this background, main body background as hash 212121. Save it. Then for, let's target the h2 tag, I'm just going to say text color, which is going to be hash f1. Save it, something like this. Then let's increase the gap for this as 24 pixels. Okay, then for this loader width, since I fixed the width, I have to fix the height as well as the 200 pixels. Then I'm gonna say perspective. So this perspective is the 3D property, so we're gonna use that. So let's say 800 pixels, that's the perspective. So if you hover, you can see applies the same transform as perspective transform functions, except that it applies only on that particular position or transform the children of the element, not to transform on the element itself. So this is the perspective property that we needed. Then what we need to do, we need to target the crystals, which is going to be the absolute positions which is inside. Then let's target the crystal, which is going to be in the absolute position. And please make sure you mark the loader as the relative, because that's the anchor point for this particular crystals. Otherwise it will be defaultly taking the anchor point as your body tag. So make sure that as a position relative, from the top it needs to take the 50%, and from the left as well as it need to take the 50%. In order to keep it in the exact center locations, I have to transform it. So let's say transform, and let's use the translate function. So let's say negative direction from top left, something like this, minus 50%. Okay, then I have to say rotate. I need to rotate it into the 45-degree. Then I need to rotate in the z-axis. I need to bring the 0-degree. Save it. Okay, so right after here, I need to bring the width as 60 pixels. Then height as well as 60 pixels. Then the opacity, which is going to be 0. Initially we keep the opacity as then the transform origin, so it needs to origin from the bottom center, because animations, all these of the cubes needs to come from the bottom to the top, which means like a scaling up or zoom in animation, some kind of stuff. Okay, then the border radius, which is going to be 10 pixels, and then visibility, which is going to be the hidden currently. Then let's add some animation styles for this. I'm gonna bring the spin animations, and it needs to be 4 seconds, linear, infinite. Then I'm gonna bring the emerge animations as well as 2 seconds, ease in, out. These are the animations which we have to create, and it needs to be infinite and alternate animation stuffs. Then we need to create the fade in animations, fade in, which is going to be 0.3 seconds, ease out. Then it needs to move in the forward directions. These are the 3 different animation stuffs that we need to create. Okay, so let's go ahead and create all those 3 different animations for everything. So right now you can't see anything because we didn't add it in it, because the opacity is completely 0 for those crystals. Even if you check it out, you can see we have the loader and we have the crystals in it. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some these styles. So let's say add keyframes. Over here, let's say add keyframes. I'm gonna bring the keyframes for the spin. Let's open it from, and we're gonna use the two animations from a certain point. From this transform position, I'm gonna translate into -50°, then -50°. Then I need to rotate that into 45°. From this point, rotate z into 0°. Then I need to transform, translate -50°, comma -50°, 50%. Then rotate x-axis, in the angle. I'm gonna bring the angle, which is going to be the 45° itself. Then I need to rotate z in that angle. I need to bring 360°, something like this. This is the animation stuff that we want to do. Then we need to bring the animations for the emerge as well as, but currently we can't see any crystals over here, right? So for that, let's make some colorings over here first. Let's say dot crystal colon nth child of 1. We are going to target the very first style. Then I'm going to bring the background color, which is going to be the linear gradient 45° of that. And I'm going to bring the hash 003366, then hash 336699. That's the first color. Then the animation delay effect, which is going to be delay, and you need to give the time, which is going to be 0 seconds initially. Okay, for this, what is that? For the first crystal, now you can see it's something like loading some kind of stuff. You can see that animation is happening there, right? Then I'm gonna target this and I'm going to paste it 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let's target this, the second one 45°, and this is going to be the color code, which is going to be 003399, and here, which is going to be 3366 and then animation, which is going to be 0.3 seconds, and here the same, which is going to be 0066 and here 3399 animation delay effects, which is going to be 0.6 seconds, which is going to be the third child, and this is for the fourth child, which is going to be 0.6 animations, and for this, which is going to be 0099 and for this, which is going to be 66 okay. That's for fourth child. I need to bring 0.9 seconds because for 3 we have the 0.6. So now for the fifth child, I need to bring let's say 33 and here 99 which is going to be 1.2 seconds. All right, and the last final one, which is going to be the child number 6, and then the color code, we need to change the color code as well as over here. So the color code for this, which is going to be 66 and for this, which is going to be CC and for this, and the timings, which is going to be 1.5 seconds. So now let's move on to the rest of the animation stuffs over here. So we have to finish the spin, emerge, and the fade in animation. So I'm gonna copy this, then I'm gonna set the add keyframes for this emerge animations, open it, then from 0% and on 100%, how does it look? So I need to bring the transform, then I need to bring the translate, then I need to say -50%, comma -50%. Oops, sorry, my bad, I added two different brackets. Okay, so here now I need to make sure the scale, which is going to be 0.5, then the opacity, which is going to be 0. which is going to be 0. Now let me copy this and let me paste it. This time, this is instead of this 0 to 100 percentage, I'm gonna make sure this as the 50 percentage in between point, scale which is going to be 1, and the opacity which is going to be 1. Save it. Okay, then I'm gonna bring the fade in animations as well as, so let's bring the fade in animations, which is going to be at keyframes. Let's bring the fade in animations. So we need to change the visibility. So 2-point visibility needs to be visible, then only you can see it. Then the opacity, which is going to be 0 point, which means the 80 percentage. Now we can see we have that opacity levels, and the zoom, the scale, and the fade in animations, and the emerge animations, everything is looks stunning. So all these animation stuffs is basically through this animations. Okay, so all the 6 crystals, colors, and everything, the opacity level and the visibility level will be changed based on this. This is a nice cool animations. You can use it for your loaded stuff for your website, which is just a plain simple HTML and CSS with a limited number of codings only over here. Okay, so if you have any questions or any doubts related to this, you can drop that questions, or you can drop your suggestions as well as, and you can get this source code for free. You can get the source code for free. Click the link in the GitHub link in the description, so you can download it. And yep, if you love that, so love the code and everything, hit the star icon in the GitHub. And for more interesting concepts for day by day, the UI elements and the React concepts and everything, we will upload every day, and every week we will bring you a full stack project as well as, we try to bring you the full stack projects as well as, because full stack projects will take some times. So bear with us, so you will you can learn a lot of stuff in this channel, and I really happy to help you out. And hit the like and subscribe button, and that will encourage us for bringing up the more interesting concepts to you. All right, I'll see you all in the next video with the more interesting concepts. Take care, happy coding.